Hi guys, let's talk about how the cell cycle is regulated. The essential questions: what is the role of cyclin proteins in controlling the cell cycle? How does cancer relate to the cell cycle? What is the role of apoptosis? And what are the two types of stem cells and what are their potential uses? Here's the vocab. If you haven't had a chance to complete it, go ahead and do so now. The normal cell cycle. The role of cyclins. The timing and the rate of cell division are important and are controlled by proteins and enzymes. The cell cycle in eukaryotic cells is driven by a combination of two substances. Cyclins are proteins that bind to enzymes called cyclin-dependent kinases, or CDKs. Different cyclin/CDK combinations control different activities during different stages of the cell cycle. Quality control checkpoints. The cell cycle has built-in checkpoints that monitor the cell cycle and can stop it if something goes wrong. There are checkpoints after each stage of interphase to protect against duplicating DNA damage. So if it finds some damage, it's either A, going to fix it, or it's going to say, all right, guys, we can't fix this. We gotta get rid of it. Abnormal cell cycle often results in cancer. Cancer is the uncontrolled growth and division of cells. Cancer results when cells stop responding to the controls of the cell cycle, so they stop listening to those checkpoints. Cancer cells can kill an organism by crowding out normal cells, resulting in the loss of tissue function. So here we have a tumor beginning to grow, all right? It is crowding out the normal cells right here, all right? And you'll notice that it's not ordered. It's not structured. It's not neat and tidy like the normal cells are, right? They're just kind of stacked in on top of each other. They lack something called contact inhibition. Normally, when a cell touches another cell, it's like, oh, sorry, excuse me, didn't mean to get that close. But cancer cells, they don't really care. They don't care who they're touching. They're just going to keep on replicating. Causes of cancer. Mutations or changes in segments of DNA cause the cell growth and division of cancer cells. So changes in the DNA, so that the cell doesn't actually realize that it's not doing what it's supposed to. Various environmental factors can affect the occurrence of cancer cells. Substances that are known to cause cancer are called carcinogens. Okay, going out in the sun, repeated sunburns can lead to skin cancer. My dad has had to have several skin cancers removed off of his face because back whenever he was a kid, nobody used sunscreen. Nobody really realized how important it was. Okay, skin cancer does run in my dad's family. He had a cousin who was his best friend growing up who died of it back in 2007. So that's when my dad started taking better care of his skin and being a lot more diligent about wearing long sleeves or a hat or, if nothing else, sunscreen to protect his skin from causing mutations, because repeated exposure to the sun can cause the DNA in those cells to change. That's why I'm very diligent about wearing sunscreen if I go outside. That, and because sunburns really, really hurt. I have gotten a lot of sunburns even though I use sunscreen. It's a product of my fair skin tone. So I'm much more prone to sunburns, which means I'm more prone to skin cancer. Okay, and I don't want that to happen. So if you're going outside, guys, please wear sunscreen. Wear clothes that are going to protect you against sunburn. Skin cancer is nothing to mess around with. Moving on, apoptosis. Apoptosis is the process of programmed cell death. So if a cell realizes that it has been damaged beyond repair, that the DNA is just so wrong that they can't fix it, it's gonna just self-destruct. It's going to go through apoptosis and shrink and shrivel up. Apoptosis can occur during development, in cells that are damaged, and in cells that may lead to cancerous growths. So, right now, my skin is young and healthy, relatively young, not as young as it used to be. And so whenever I am exposed to the sun a lot, I develop freckles, okay? But eventually, if I'm exposed repeatedly to the sun, those freckles might stop going away whenever I'm not in the sun. Okay, they might stick around and they might continue to grow and mutate into a skin cancer. Okay, and so that's something. If you have any suspicious looking moles or freckles, have them checked out by a medical professional, guys. Really, please go get it checked. I had one removed last spring that was suspicious. The doctor said that it was not cancerous, but it had the potential to develop into cancer if I had not had it treated when I did. Moving on to stem cells. Multicellular organisms have specialized cells, but before those specialized cells develop, they come from cells known as stem cells. Those are the precursor cells that have the ability to look different, to develop into a muscle cell, or a blood cell, or a nerve cell, or any other kind of cell that the body needs. There are two types of stem cells. The first that we're going to talk about are embryonic stem cells. After fertilization, the initial mass of cells, about 100 to 150, remain undifferentiated. They haven't developed into a specific type. These are embryonic stem cells. As development continues, cells receive signals that initiate their differentiation into specialized cells. So they get signals saying, hey, you're going to turn into a muscle cell. You're going to turn into a skin cell. You're going to turn into a bone cell. Okay, and they become specialized. Adult stem cells are found in various tissues in the body, and they are used to maintain and repair tissue. More developed or specialized than embryonic stem cells, but they might be able to differentiate into different kinds of cells. That's something that scientists are working on, especially in the case of people that are paralyzed, because nerve cells, once they're damaged, they're not able to repair themselves the way that other body cells can. And so scientists are working on using these stem cells to repair those damaged nerve cells, or to grow new ones that can replace the damaged ones. And that's it, guys. If you have any questions, let me know.